Hi, it's John. Welcome along to our channeled meditation today. I'm here in my camper van on holiday. It is early in the morning, so I am speaking quietly and making the most of this quiet time. And in today's session, I would like to set the intention to go back through space and time to my past lives where I experienced trauma as a seer, a being capable of seeing everything in this universe all at once, and the trauma of losing myself in that experience. I should begin by taking in deep breaths in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth what no longer serves my highest good, nice and loud. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out any low vibration, energy, or emotions. And breathe in through the nose and release any shame, fear, pain, or anxiety. Continue to breathe deeply and calmly. And I will silently set up a safe space, which I will follow the practice you see in my free spirit guide meditations on my website. If you give me one moment. I surround myself with a golden bubble of light, and I set the intention on the energies and entities with my permission. My highest good, love, and compassion can see me, access me, or exist within this space or within me, and that all other energies and entities must leave me immediately. I invite in my guides, my higher self, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Source, and Gaia. Good. Now the safe space is set up. I set the intention. I'm here to visit the lifetime of where I lost myself as a seer of the universe. To learn any messages that will help me or others watching this video, and to be able to participate in any healing that will help me and others. I'm just asking one of my guides to step forwards. And there is discussion with my guides at this time, because there is not currently one of my team who are seers, who are able to see across space and time. So there is a new guide who will soon be ready to join me in my spirit team. who was a seer, who is a seer. And there is discussion at this time about whether I'm ready for them to join my team. And the short answer at this time is no. But they are making me aware that this guide exists. I have some impression of them. Quite tall, and they have like wearing a cloak, so have the hood up of their cloak. And they're just standing back from my other guides. And I'm greeting them. Their energy is very powerful and very beautiful. I see them tall in a cloak, and it's in parts for them to hide their own figure from me. But it is also how they prefer to be seen, just like Maya would often wear her cloak or her hood up. And my new guide feels Lyran. And that is all that will be shared with me at this time. I had a sense that their third eye is very visible and very open. So thank you for joining my team, and I look forward to working with you, new guide. And so my guide, Maya, has stepped forwards to assist me in this past life healing as a seer. And she's asking me to remind you of my journey. My journey this time last year in this very camper van was a journey of my deepest, darkest shadow work. And I, last summer, lost myself in an almost agitated, manic, spiritual cycle where I was pressing so hard every day, creating every day, and not really sure why, without focus. And I was burning myself out, and I was leaving myself very vulnerable to what would happen if I kept going. And eventually I went through a death and rebirth. And although that was a very painful experience, it was also an experience that underpins my current present. And it was my future. And right now, this summer, despite the giant changes in my life, I feel relaxed and grounded. I feel loved and abundant. I feel calm. Maya, could you show me this past life version of me that requires this healing as a seer? So first of all, Maya is showing me that we all live in a quantum universe. Past, parallel, present, and future all at once. And she's showing me that version of me whenever I would see, I would exist across past, parallel, present, and future. It's a form of omnipresence. It is a byproduct of using the ability to see. And I would like a reference point, please. When in space and time did this version of me exist? I'm being shown 10,000 years ago. And 10,000 years ago, here on Earth and off-world, there were many galactic beings, just like there are today many galactic beings on Earth. But 10,000 years ago, they were widely accepted as parts of Earth's family, our star family. And I'm seeing the pyramids at Egypt, pyramids of Giza. I'm seeing Lyrans, these lion beings, of which I was one. But there was something different about me. I was also a hybrid. A hybrid of many species. Most dominant was Lyran. In fact, in that lifetime, I had attempted to be a full pedigree, full-blooded Lyran. But my Lyran body was not capable of holding the ability of being able to see. Keep having the urge to pull my hand up to my face. It's like it's to feel the face of me then. And overlaid on my human face just now as John, I'm feeling like the bumps that I would feel across my forehead back then as that Lyran hybrid. Bumpy forehead, green and blue skin, and some Lyran features also, like a fur on my face. And in fact, the Lyran lion fur that was over my face also hid a lot of the mixed race features that I had, these bumps. They remind me of the ridges on the forehead that we would see on the Star Trek TV series and movies for the Klingons. And these were bone structures. Teeth. And I would encourage myself to grow facial hair on my body because it softened my mixed race features. Back then, as a healer and as a seer, I would do much work in finding the people who are lost across space and time. And there was also a practice of saving people, bringing them through portals back to Earth. bringing them to safety. I see myself sitting in one of the pyramids, the central pyramid, and traveling through space and time, through a portal there, going into deep meditation. The travel was more physical than I'm participating in right now. I can travel to anywhere in the universe, anywhere, across space and time. Identify through frequency identification and the blueprint, the DNA of someone's being. Find them and bring them back for healing, or just to bring them to safety. And I would work with the Galactic Council to receive instructions each day about what work to do and where. The challenge was that I would, every time I connected in meditation to my ability to see across space and time, I just feel like my third eye is opening now. As I did this, I would connect into unity consciousness. And this is Source. It is God, Source consciousness. And when you do this, you become that part of you that is connected with Source, that is one with Source. Apologies for any gulping sounds. And I'm being shown some of the highest frequency beings that I have met in my work over recent years. And these include the highest order of angels, above archangels, and also the ray beings, these rays of light, commonly referred to as blue ray, but many different colors exist, the whole spectrum. And these beings are examples of beings that are able to drift, either accidentally or with intention, drift in and out of unity, to drift in and out of Source without reincarnating each time. It's almost like this is Source and this is the being, and it's like they merge seamlessly and become one, and then they come apart like two cells splitting back together and coming apart. There's a celebration in both states, celebrating their being one with Source and being separate. Being separate brings us our own unique truth, our own unique abilities, our own unique experience, our unique opportunity to grow our souls. And then at one with Source, we become everything all at once, everywhere. We have massively amplified abilities, and yet we begin to lose over time and energy our uniqueness. We begin to blend, to unify with Source. And so I'm being led to the trauma. And the trauma was fatigue. Each day I would go in I called it the healing chamber at the center, near the base of the pyramid. And I would go into meditation. There was some singing and some toning, and the use of instruments, including singing bowls. And once a safe space was set up, I would connect in to Source. And depending on my ability to, and the instructions I was given from the Galactic Council to do the work, I would begin my connection into Source, and I would do this merging into Source. And it was this ceremony of, it would take a few minutes, and I would call in Source energy, and I'd merge myself with it, and then I'd begin my work. And I'm seeing that I could do the work for about 5 or so hours each day. And then at the end, pull myself apart. And I use those words intentionally, like I felt like I was ripping myself, like ripping the Band-Aid off, ripping myself back out into being an individual soul. So I'm being shown the event of trauma. There was a time when I was called to do much more than just 5 hours a day. What happened was there was an ascension wave that unexpectedly grew and expanded out like an explosion. It was like a big bang from the center of this universe, and this explosion of energy burst out, and it reminds me of a volcano where the energy was trapped, and there were beings, there were galactic races who wanted this to happen. They wanted, in many respects, to see what would happen. What comes from the central sun of this universe is a pulse, it's a heartbeat, it's the heart of the universe. And as the heart beats, it pulses these waves, these energy waves, out across the universe. And these energy waves are galactic ascension waves. And so the universe's heart, the grand central sun of the universe, is always trying to raise the vibrations and feed the vibrations of the universe. And these beings intervened and constrained the heart. And so tremendous pressure built up as the heart was trying to beat. And eventually, after some significant time, there was this explosion of energy, and so this massive tsunami, this galactic ascension wave tsunami, pulsed out across the universe, and it caused much destruction. It caused every being that was astral projecting, who's in meditation, who's doing anything in the metaphysical realms. They became detached from their home worlds. They became lost souls. And there were thousands and thousands and millions that were affected. So I, like many, was called to find them and to return them back to their bodies. This was the will of Source. Source has feelings and felt guilty about what had happened, and as part of the karmic reset, these beings that had been, like, their bodies went into like comas, and their being, their soul just drifted out into space and time, and they were drifting through empty space, through the void, through nebulas. They were like ghosts in space, and so they had to be found. And most commonly, the way we found them was their cord, their light cord, that connected their own hearts out to their light body. It was severed, and that deep soul connection bled out this energy signature. It's like it had a smell to it as well. It was really sickening smell, like if you've ever smelled death, like of a loved one or a pet, or it's hard to explain, but it smells like death. They were not dead, but they needed reconnecting. And this is when my work began. The mission, after I was called, I would go in each day into my healing chamber, and I would hunt for thousands and thousands and thousands of these souls lost in the actual astral realms. And once I found them, it was a relatively simple practice. I would bring them all together in like an astral bubble, and then I would call for each of them their connection, their cord from their light body into their physical bodies. And I'd ask for Source's assistance, and I would weave, like weaving light, silky light from their light body back into their physical body, wherever it was in the universe. And we would weave this light, like we're painting. And it was very happy, it was very joyous. It was not a burden at all. It filled me with such love to enjoy, to be able to help others. And some were children who were students and studying their practices. Others were older, more mature. And we found them their way home. And once they were reconnected, instructed them to return to their bodies. And there was just these cheers across the universe as so many beings, these thousands and thousands and millions of beings across the universe, in their home worlds or ships or wherever they were in the universe, their bodies would wake up and their loved ones would be there, and they would return and they would be fully conscious, and they would remember everything that happened. And whilst there was great happiness for each individual that was affected, that did have their cord cut and then rejoined, there was trauma, and it would take many of them many years to learn to practice safe astral travel again. This happiness that I would feel, it would encourage me to work harder and harder each day. So each day I would go into my healing chamber, and it started at 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, and then it became days that I would be there physically, and this problem began where I couldn't be like woken back up from meditation, both spiritually and physically and technologically. My friends, my co-workers, my team, they could see that I was working in the astral realms. They could go into the astral realms and see me there, like I was in the Matrix. But they kept saying, you've got to like take a break, you've got to stop working, you need to heal yourself. And I would say I was fine. But this mania was addictive, and what was actually happening was I was losing my own connection to my body. And so the less connected I was, the less grounded I was, the harder it was for me physically. And the more I was losing myself into Source, merging with Source every day, doing this work to continue to find these still thousands of people who needed reconnecting their light bodies with their bodies. And not everyone made it. Not everyone that we found could be saved. And there was a time and frequency aspect to this, because the longer the light body was in the astral realms and disconnected, the less likely it was that you could reconnect them. And so eventually they would become ghosts. And so the longer this went on after this big galactic wave, Big Bang, the harder it became. And increasingly my work shifted from reconnecting people to helping their souls like return to Source, because they could not return to their bodies. And something happened to me. There was an event, a traumatic event, where when I was, after several days, it was like 3-4 days, 3.5 days, of being in this state, merged with Source, I began to see what could be described as my guide Maya is telling me, the burden of Source. And the burden of Source is to see all the happiness as well as all the sadness. So all the high vibration as well as all the low vibration of this universe all at once. And it's across all space and time. And I began to see this across all my lifetimes. I saw all the sadness that I would experience as a soul in the future. And just like in this lifetime, I've experienced much sadness and loss. It was overbearing for me. It was too much for my soul. I'm just asking my guide, like, so what happened? What did I do? In order to shut it out, I traveled into the infinite void, a universe of one, like entering through a black hole. And because I started being like bombarded with all this negative sadness, like all the trauma from all my lifetimes all at once, and it was too much for my soul to cope with. And this is why our trauma is like split up, is siloed into different lifetimes. And this is why the veil of forgetfulness, whenever we're born, we forget those traumas from previous lives, so we can focus on the next steps of healing and trauma to heal, to both experience and heal in one lifetime. But when our soul experiences it across all lifetimes at once, it is terrifying. And so I traveled to the infinite void to block out this explosion of my own shadow work all at once, all lifetimes all at once. And whilst that worked, I was lost. I became disconnected from my body, and my body went into a coma state back in Egypt 10,000 years ago. And that's the trauma. There's almost like this feeling of, John, this is what you asked for. This is what you're now being shown. And I'm really curious, like, Maya, can you tell me? Or you can step into me and just tell me, like, what happened in the void. After what felt like an eternity, because I was lost in space and time, while my soul was lost in the infinite void, this incredible thing happened, which was, for all this like low vibration pain that I experienced, where I was just like, all of the happy things in my life or my soul's existence were drained out of me as I faced all my fears at once. This like karmic rebalance happened, and suddenly all the happiness of all my lifetimes started bleeding into that existence, because I'd only been successful in the going to the void, to blocking out my unhappiness, and I was in this kind of fugue state. But so what started happening is I started seeing my own light. My own light was a reflection. It was a star in the night sky, in this deep, dark, black, empty void. I saw for the first time a light, and I realized quite quickly that it was a reflection of my own light. It was my own love, and I was being asked to travel to it. It was calling me, and I had to step into it. I had to like travel to it. I had to go there and step through it to find myself again. And it was my love calling me back to me. And so I did. And I let go of that void. And I went into the light of me. And as I did, I reconnected back into this 10,000 years ago version of me in the healing chamber in an Egyptian pyramid. I came back to my body. But much time had passed. Pyramids was still there. But this is when I became, it's like my body initially turned like beyond like a rigor mortis, became almost like a statue. And my body continued to be solid over thousands of years, but there was like this accelerated effect, just like crystals grow, and my body had become a crystal. It had become a crystal, and over time, they knew my friends, my family, my loved ones, like they knew that I was likely dead to them in their lifetimes, but that my soul was still attached to the matter, to the physical matter of my body. And as my body alchemized, as it metamorphosized from a Lyran hybrid being, it became a crystal. There weren't many colors, but it started blue. And that they placed me at the top of the pyramid in honor of my service, of my life. And over time, that blue became a whole rainbow of different colors. And this for me is stitching together lives. I knew that I knew that I had been in Egypt. I knew I'd been in Lyran. I knew I had done healing work. I knew I'd done many missions. I didn't know about this event, and I didn't know how I'd then gone on and become a crystal within the pyramids. And so what was really interesting was, even though I was physically dead, you could commune with me. My loved ones could talk with me by like placing their hands on the crystal and of me, and then meditating. They could talk with me, and I would come forwards. And there were so many tears from both sides, and much celebration, sadness. And I'm just asking, like, what happened to the crystal of me? And the first answer I get is that I was stolen. I was stolen because they wanted to use, a galactic race wanted to use me as a weapon, and they tried to weaponize my crystalline ability to be able to travel to anywhere in space and time and to hunt others. And in fact, this is when they went on and enslaved me. But it didn't last very long, because they ended up accidentally or inevitably destroying me physically. And so I returned to Source, and I was freed, like a genie in a bottle, a soul trapped in a crystal. And when I returned to Source, it felt good again, because I was ready to come back again as a being. So I'm just going to ask Maya, before we finish, is there any messages for me or for others that this story, this journey resonates with? Is there anything we can do in our lives to help stop ourselves losing ourselves in our work? And the simple answer is to always put first your self-love and your self-care, and also put first the time that you spend with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and your practices for grounding. As long as they are first, you will never become lost. because your love for them, your love for yourself, and your love for others is stronger as a guiding force and a stabilizing force than anything else in your life. And this applies to you right now, John, to go and spend time with your family. Thank you. I'm so grateful. I'd like to thank my guides, myself, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Source, and Gaia, and every soul that's participated in today's session. As I bring the bubble of the session to a close, asking us all to step out of it, step back. Archangel Michael, please return to Source, or never return here again. Bringing myself back to my body. Good. I hope this video finds you well. It was very healing for me. I feel very calm, very loved, and I feel very lucky to be able to do exercises like this and to be able to receive such powerful healing. And I'm just remembering the joy as well as the challenges and sadness from that lifetime. And it excites me for this lifetime to see how I can help more and more people. It gives me such joy to help others. And this is why I'm here, to help others, to help you. And if you're interested in learning more about me, please visit my website, johnbinnie.com. Watch my YouTube videos, my podcasts, whatever you choose, whatever resonates with you. Thank you. I'm sending so much love from England.